G'day everybody, doing a little bit of work on the old ag bike today. If you've been following on the channel, you'll know that I rebuilt the engine and the gearbox. Oh, it must have been getting close to a year ago, I think, maybe just a little bit less. Basically, went to use it last weekend, jumped on it. It had been running earlier that day, jumped on it, kicked it in the guts, had it running, and it died in the arse. So I thought it was a bit strange. And, you know, we tried starting it, couldn't get it to run. Pulled the spark plug out. It was a bit dirty, a bit of oil on it. Cleaned it up and put it back in, it fired back up, and it still just kept dying. So I'm led to believe now that it could be, I think the carby is getting gummed up with too much oil from the oil pump, because when two-stroke goes in and mixes with the fuel, if it sits for a bit, it gunks up. So I'm going to clean the carby out. I'm also going to pull the cover off the oil pump and just check the adjustments on it. I've got the measurements that I need to do. So I'll try and make it a short video. If you've been following along, you would have seen me pull it all apart before and put it back together. So I'll just sort of get it down to where we need to have it, and we'll clean up of that carby, pull it apart, just check that she's all good, and we'll check the adjustments on that oil pump. I'll rip some of these covers off and get access to the carby, and then I'll get back to you with what we're going to do next. Alright, so I pulled the air filter off down there, and it was all clean and looked pretty good, nothing blocking that, so I know it's not a air issue. I've got the carby sort of off. I'm not going to completely pull it off because this is the oil feed line to the carby, and it's sort of got a funny little metal crimping thing that goes on, and I had to cut the hose last time. I don't want to shorten it anymore because it's, yeah, be a bit of a pain. So I've got that still connected, and I've also got the throttle cable where it goes into the throttle there and the needle as well. So I've still got that connected. I'm not taking that off, it doesn't really matter, because what I really want to get to is just take the bowl off and look at the jets and make sure that they're not blocked. There was a bit of gunk in there, but I just gave it a bit of a brake clean and wiped it out, and but we'll make sure we give it a good blowout. Yeah, so I'll also check the, I think that's your air mixture screw there, or it might be the fuel screw, I can't remember which one it is, but there's a set, you're meant to set it to a certain point. I'll have to, I think it's fully close it, then undo it one turn, and then this is just your idle screw, which sets your idle, adjusts how high your plunger throttle thingo goes. As you remember from the last set of videos on the Yamaha, I'm not a motorbike expert or mechanic. I'm just sort of making that as I go, so if anybody knows a little bit more than I do, leave a comment and tell me what I'm doing wrong, or tell me what it's called. Yeah, I'm always happy to learn something new. But yeah, we'll pull that off and give the carby a clean out, and hopefully we will find something blocking it. I don't really want it to be the oil pump. I'd rather it be a bit of dirt or something that's got in there with the fuel, because I pulled the little bowl off where the fuel tap is, and there was a bit of sediment, I guess, in there, so I cleaned that out. I'd rather it be a dirty fuel problem than the oil pump, because you have to shim it if the adjustment's not right, and I don't really want to have to try and do that. But we will still check it and make sure the adjustment's good, because I did set the adjustment, well, I checked the adjustment when I rebuilt it, but it may have moved, or it may just be not right, might be putting too much oil, which I think it is, because there's a lot of oil in the exhaust by the looks of it, and two strokes, I know, like pretty smoky, but this one's a lot smoky, I think, because it burned so much oil. But we'll investigate a bit further and see what we come up with. Okay, got the bowl off. You'll be able to see it there. There's a bit of sediment. It might be rust out of the tank because it didn't run for so long. So I'll give that a clean up, and I'll pull the jets out as well and give it all a blast to make sure that it's not blocked up. Alright, so this screw here, you might not be able to see it very well, but basically you have to screw that all the way in, which I'm doing. Screw that all the way in, then you turn it back out one full turn. So it should be set there, it should be pretty right there, I think. Blasted all the holes out, gave that jet a clean out, don't think it was very blocked or not, I think. So everything else seems to be alright. Yeah, I can't see anything else that could be blocking up, so we'll reassemble the carby and I'll mount it all back up and we'll put the airbox back on, and then we'll pull this cover off and suss out the oil pump. Alright, I got the carby and the airbox back on. I've just pulled the cover off for the oil pump. Now basically the manual for Yamaha isn't very clear and the pictures aren't very good. There's two checks you got to do. So there's like a timing mark for the oil pump, which you've got to check. I'll show you. You may not be able to see it. Basically where that little screw is there should be a mark sort of directly in line with it. I don't know if you can see it, it's sort of just in that area there. It's all lined up properly, and that's where you adjust that by adjusting the length of the cable, which I set when I put it all back together, so it's still in the right spot. And the second adjustment is you got to check with a feeler gauge, and they say to check between the clearance in this gap that there should be between 0.2 of a mil and 0.25 of a mil. I'll show you that adjustment too. So it says to put your feeler gauge in between this adjusting plate, which I have to push out to get it in, so I think it might be out of adjustment, and check it in there. Well, obviously I had to open it up to actually get it in, but in the illustration it's sort of hard to tell if that's even the right spot to be checking, so I'm sort of half guessing. Yeah. So they say if that gap's not there, well, you're actually meant to check it with it running at idle. So we're gonna have to start it up and check it and see what it does. But I think it's gonna need to be adjusted, and they say you're meant to add a shim. Now, I'm not gonna have any shims, but I might be able to find a washer that may be big enough, or I might be able to just file it down a little bit. So what I'll do is I'll try and fire it up, see if it starts, and then we'll try and shim that out. If it's not right, we'll have to recheck it with this while it's running. So I'll try and fire it up and we'll see how we go. Might have to adjust the idle when I start it, because I've played with that idle screw on the cup. See how it goes. what's been happening, so it's still happening. So that's a bummer. I don't know why it's doing that. Alright, so as you saw, this was still dying, so I've been screwing around with it for a while now. Dad's showed up as well, he's been giving me a bit of a hand. We've been stuffing around with the fuel, still wasn't firing, and then pulled the spark plug out, checked it again. Pull the spark plug out, this is the old one here. And it was wet on it, so we weren't sure it was getting too much fuel or oil or something. We checked the spark on it and it was sparking. I don't know if you guys can see that there or not. Anyway, I had another spare one, a brand new one. We put that in. Oh, we noticed that when we put it in clean, it would fire straight away and run for a little bit. So we put a new spark plug in, now it seems to run fine. And that's just about there for a spin. But yeah, we're not sure exactly why this one wasn't working, like giving a good spark or whatever, even though we could see it sparking on the head when we had it out. So that's going to take it for a ride now and we'll see what happens, and we'll go from there. Alright, so we've sort of finished up. Dad took it for a ride, I took it for a ride. We've sort of been mucking around with it, getting it hot. We weren't quite sure. A lot of that smoke was just crap burning out of the exhaust, out of the muffler. What we ended up doing, because in that muffler there's a baffle that was wrapped in like a cloth or fiberglass cloth type rubbish, and it collected so much crap and moisture, it was like just drenched. So we just ripped it out and like flogged it off, and we like ran it, see if it would burn it out, but the muffler's not getting hot enough to burn it all out. It is clearing out some of it. So I'm not convinced that it's fixed from changing the spark plug. I think there's still, because I was playing with that oil adjustment I was speaking about earlier. I put the feeler gauge in there and it's still, I don't know, just didn't seem right. So I think the oil needs to be adjusted. I don't know if it's pumping too much oil in or what, but swap that spark plug over and it seems to be running all right now. So we're just going to leave it and just let it get used as usual, and we'll see what happens. Dad's going to talk to a bloke at his work that has a bit of idea about motorbikes, and I might do the same in my work. See if I can get any information that might help, because as I said, I'm not convinced that it's fixed, because as I said, that other spark plug was still sparking, and I don't know if it had too much oil on it around the ceramic, and that was causing it, not allowing it to spark enough, because the new one just straight away, no worries, and it seems to be running all right now. So we're going to finish up this video, but leave it open there with this not being 100% fixed. If anybody out there has any ideas or has a bit more experience than what I do, because as I said, I don't have much of an idea what I'm doing on these things. I'm just sort of making it up as I go and just taking logical steps as I come across them. So any information would be welcome. If you have an idea, chuck it down in the comments and let me know, and we'll just see what happens, I guess. So as usual, we'll leave it there. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll catch you later. All right.